Well, hello again. Today, people, I could use some help. Is it even possible to wake up the sheeple? You know, you hear people all the time posting, talking, how did Trudeau ever get back in the second time? Well, I gotta figure it was the sheeple. Typical sheeple. Example of one of the gals at work. I've mentioned them in a previous video, specifically the last one I filmed. You're watching the wrong Mr. T. Fictitious character, but amalgamation of some real people. Said, hey Esmeralda, you know I'm at work. Esmeralda, you and the gals talking about Mr. Trump. Oh yeah, did you hear what he said yesterday? No, I didn't hear what he said yesterday. I was watching our Canadian politics. You do realize, Esmeralda, we're having some issues, some problems here in Canada. Oh, well, I don't watch any of that. Well, why don't you? You know, as much as Trump might be entertainment, do you not realize we have some problems here? Well, you know, I don't know, can it be that bad? So, you know, the man's a blatant thief. He admires dictatorships. He's letting Islam run amok. He's ruined our economy. I could go on for a while. Oh, I don't know. Is it that bad? Well, yeah, Esmeralda, it kind of is. Maybe you should want to have a look at it. Oh, no. Why not? Why don't you look at it? Oh, you know, it's kind of depressing and, well, kind of frightens me. Well, know thy enemy. That's why you should be watching Esmeralda. Oh, Scott, do you have to talk about this? Well, I'm just wondering, you know, maybe you should think about having a look at it there. Did you vote last time? Well, yeah, I pretty much always vote. Were you as ill-informed, perhaps, last time when you voted? I'm going to ask you who you voted for. It's a pretty easy deduction. You know. Well, Esmeralda, are you planning on voting on the next election? Assuming we have one? Because the haircut of the helm seems to be gilding his throne as we speak. Do we even have a democracy now? Oh, Scott. No, really, Esmeralda, you plan on voting next time? Well, yeah, sure, I'm gonna vote. Okay. I'm not gonna ask you who you vote for, Esmeralda, because, well, you can't vote for Trump, and he's the only one you watch. Oh, okay, Esmeralda, I'll let you off the hook. I can, you know, see you're getting your knickers in a knot there. Now, this is going to be an unpopular notion, and it's of course rife with problems, but maybe we need to sort of vet the voting process. You know, maybe you should, like, I don't know quite how it would work. I haven't thought my way through it. Again, it's not going to be popular. There's arguments against it. It's draconian. It's expensive, perhaps, to implement. Maybe you should get a voter card, you know, that, you know, you do something online with that it's actually you, a Canadian voter, not, as has been rumored in the last election, you know, maybe a recently deceased, maybe in a irregular entry, shall we say, into our country, who isn't even a citizen. Even if they did get their citizenship, should they be entitled to vote after being here? Maybe they should have to be here a decade or something. You know, the Trudeau government is, I was watching some post today, an immigrant who gets the right to vote, does he even have to be a citizen? I'm not sure. I'm not going to argue that one, but he doesn't even have to live in the country and he can vote. So again, maybe we need to vet the vote, who is a voter, and then, okay, you know, we make sure I'm who, you are who we should be, and that we have a legitimate right as a Canadian citizen to vote. So you go into your polling station and there's a bunch of, like, you know, like instant-touch bank machines there or something. You put your card in and you got to answer, yeah, you know, 6 or 8 questions. Nothing too tough. Say to the effect of, you know, list the political parties that are legitimate runners in a federal election. Say you got to bat about 75% on that. What are their primary policies as regarding the current issues? Be that economics, the ecology, oh, I don't know, carbon tax, the pipeline. As I say, current issues that affect the country. You know, you should have to bat a pretty good percentage on that too. Can you list the, you know, half of the party leaders? Can you list what their policies are? See where I'm going with this? You can try and make a lot of it pretty easy, you know, multiple choice, A through E. You know, you get where I'm going with this? So then when Esmeralda stumbles up to the polls, you know, what little brain is in her sheeple head, reeling from last night's Trump thing she was watching on the news, you know, you got to give her a bit of a test. Do you deserve to vote? Or are you just walking in there thinking you're doing your good citizenship thing while you bleat like a sheep and vote for the guy who's got the nicest goddamn haircut? I mean, help me here. How do we wake the sheep up? You know, a lot of people who post, repost, watch the posts, you know, we're preaching to the choir, and I'm sure we are. I get aggravated. I make these videos, and I think, well, pretty sure the only people watching them are the people who pretty much agree with what I'm saying, are already on the same page. The sheeple aren't watching, and you can't wake them up. At least I've been unable to. You know, again, my fictitious Esmeralda, you know, quite worried about the COVID. Different fictitious Esmeralda in this case I'm presenting. I have children, she says. Well, you know, yeah, you're a mother, you should be concerned about your children, absolutely. But you don't care about Canadian politics? Don't even watch it, she says. Whoa, come now. You know, how about I give you a couple of titles of a couple of my videos, as Common Sense Carl on YouTube. You know, check them out. They're not really that radical, I don't think. No. Oh, how about I give you a couple of titles of some other posts maybe you could have a look at, you know. Nothing too scary. You know. No. So, do you read the newspaper? Do you watch the news? Well, you know, the paper once in a while. I usually kind of check out the evening news. So, how about you watch the Rebel News? You ever heard of them? No. So, well, you know, they're, you know, now we're using the term mainstream media, which by a lot of way of thinking and a lot of account, it's pretty well bought off by the government. You know, the Rebel News, they're, you know, I'll call it an alternative point of view to the news there, Esmeralda. Maybe have a look at them. Oh, no. Well, come on. You said you got kids. You know, a lot of people think this country is on the verge of, well, just going to hell in a handbasket. You know, are we even a democracy now? There's a lot of people who would argue we aren't. And you've got children, Esmeralda. You know, little point in keeping them healthy from the COVID if they're going to be enslaved in a dictatorship. Have you heard of Venezuela? Oh, Scott, you know. Okay, Esmeralda, I'll let you off the hook. You know, what am I going to do? Tie you up in a chair, put Freddie Flintstone toothpicks on your eyes and make you watch reality? I don't know. How do we wake these people up? I'm at a loss. I really am. As I said before, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm no grand orientator, as I'm sure you can see, but, you know, whether it's through the videos I post or, you know, trying to take one of these Esmeraldas a day at work, or, you know, somebody you get casually talking to from 6 feet away, you know, at the grocery store or the laundromat or something. They just don't want to know. They don't. And there should be some level of responsibility when you go to the polls to vote. Again, my notion where I started with, where, you know, you've got to kind of do a bit of a test. I don't know if that's quite tongue-in-cheek or not. There should be some kind of a criteria. And that's after, again, we get rid of the dubious, and I'll call a spade a spade. I'll say the crooked, no doubt, voting system we have. I don't know. I really don't know. How do you fix a sheeple? Comments, please. I'm certainly open to direction. I mean, or advisement and notion, something. You can't fix stupid, I get that, but, you know, hitting them with a stick isn't going to help. I don't know. Anybody know? It's the sheeple that are taking us down. They're the ones who let Trudeau get in last time. You know, everybody, how did he ever get back in? Well, at the time of the last vote, I remember, you know, again, talking casually to people. You know, have you seen those new signs? There's kind of a new party. You know, it's not the big three anymore. You know, and the Green Party, they've been gaining seats. They're just sort of an alternate vote. I know a lot of people over the years have been voting for them simply as a way of protest against, again, what I'll call the big three: the Liberals, the PC, and the NDP. So, you know, Bernier, is that how you say his name, of the PPC, in the last election, most of the people I talked to weren't even aware that the party existed, who he was, where he came from, what platforms the party had. And if I recall correctly, they didn't even get a seat. But there's a lot of people who are, I'll say, on the same page as what I am, unhappy, to say the least, with our current political system, in particular the Liberals and the haircut of the helm, as I call them. I mean, that's what he got voted in on the first time, was a haircut and the pot vote. And then he proceeded to run amok. And yet the sheeples are still unaware of it. It's going on 5 years now. He's bankrupt the nation. Pretty well does whatever the hell he wants. If you don't believe he's headed for, wants to be a dictator, well, I don't know. No point in me beleaguering that point, I guess. But that's how he got in last time, was on political ignorance. The stray people who feel it's their right to vote, and it is, but they're voting blindly. Not, you know, if you ask them anything, if they know anything about the SNC-Lavalin scandal, he sold the gold, or all of our gold was the first thing he did. The list goes on and on. I could rant and rave far longer than this video is taking. just on the crimes he has committed, the sins and the crimes. And yet the sheeple, they just still see his hair. Excuse me. That's all they see is his hair. He's a self-proclaimed feminist. I don't even know what that means. Me momsy there, she raised me not to be a male chauvinist. Does that make me a feminist? I never claimed to be a chauvinist, male chauvinist. Does that make me a self-proclaimed feminist? You know, my last two videos, you're watching the wrong Mr. T. I quipped, you know, maybe we shouldn't have given the women the vote. Well, I didn't seriously mean that, of course. But, to hell, self-proclaimed feminist. People kind. The stuff that comes out of the man's mouth. And yet, they look at him with glazed, adoring eyes, listening to his soothing voice on his daily speech where he says nothing. Well, my question was, I'm getting ranting and rambling now, kind of off the main topic here. Anybody got any suggestions at all on how you wake up a sheeple? Help me out if you can. Thank you. Take care.